A wise man once said, "Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year." That wise man was Ralph Waldo Emerson. Hey there, thanks for joining me for this year's first Friday edition of Jamaica Magazine and the best day of the new year. I'm Audrey, and it's my pleasure to take you through the program today. Do stay with me.
With this agreement,
no revenue measures for fiscal year 2018-19. Read my lips, no new taxes.
over $25 billion of capital will be available for investing in venture capital.
The financial report for 2018, Calculated Development. It's the year in review, coming soon to this station.
And it's a game changer for innovation, for opportunity, and for growth.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, January 4. The Ministry of Health is allocating an additional $250 million to contain the current dengue fever outbreak. This follows yesterday's announcement by Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton that the virus surpassed the epidemic threshold for December. The number of confirmed cases for the month stood at 123.
This exceeds the outbreak threshold of 96 cases. So 96 cases for the month of December. And in this case, this last December, we had 123. This is the first month in the 2018 calendar in which the number of cases exceeded the outbreak threshold. This season has been a more active season than last year. And we have been observing and monitoring the numbers and the increases with each month. But clearly, by the clinical standards, could only claim an epidemic once the threshold is surpassed.
A number of containment measures are already in place to prevent further spread of the virus. These include increased fogging in 300 communities that have clusters of dengue cases. The enhanced vector control program has also been extended to employ an additional 500 temporary workers who are charged with identifying and eliminating mosquito breeding sites in communities. Meanwhile, extended opening hours will be maintained for several health centers in Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. James, and Westmoreland. The ministry has also triggered the Emergency Operation International Health Regulations and National Emergency Operations Centers. In other news, the number of Jamaicans getting work under the Overseas Employment Program in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security is growing. This was announced by Portfolio Minister Shahini Robinson at a ceremony for the first batch of farm workers departing this year for Canada.
During the 2018 season, a total of 16,681 Jamaicans were placed in employment opportunities in Canada and the United States under the ministry's Overseas Employment Program. This represents an increase of 703 workers compared to the 2017 season.
Minister Robinson says figures indicate that 60%, or 9,820 of the job opportunities for 2018 were secured in the Canadian market, compared to 9,367 in 2017. The seasonal work program accounted for the larger part, with 9,204 seasonal workers, while 616 workers were employed under the low-skilled program. 299 farm workers departed the island for Canada on January 3 and 4. 41 of them are traveling on the program for the first time. All taxpayers currently filing corporate income tax and asset tax returns are now required to file online. The filing of the taxes should be done via the Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ online portal at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. This took effect on January 1. Additionally, as of January 14, employers will be required to electronically submit their employer's monthly statutory remittance payroll deductions SO1. The declarations must also be submitted using the same online portal. The TAJ has been providing support to these taxpayers through training sessions for persons identified in this fifth phase of the mandatory e-filing requirement. The support includes one-on-one training sessions for staff and advisory visits at business locations. Taxpayers are reminded to contact their client relationship manager, taxpayer education manager, or TAJ's customer care center to register for e-filing or to arrange for the assistance. A how-to guide for e-filing of tax returns is also available at the TAJ website. The National Works Agency, NWA, has started to install a set of concrete girders for the bridges being constructed at 3 miles in the corporate area. This is part of the final stages of the major thoroughfare road rehabilitation project that is set for completion in 2019. The girders, which are 100 feet long, were transported to the area yesterday via the Portmore leg of Highway 2000 and will continue to be launched at the area over the next 3 months. Pedestrians are restricted from entering the work area because of the technicality and hazards that may be involved in the launch of the girders. The work on the 3 miles area forms part of the government's road infrastructure legacy projects under the Major Infrastructure Development Program MIDP. Transport Minister Robert Montague is requesting an acceleration of the audits on marine vessels that operate on the island. The minister has also made special requests for the audits on the Palisados vessels to be completed within 2 weeks. Minister Montague's request follows a recent incident where a boat carrying 13 persons overturned off the coast of Port Royal. The audits are being carried out by the Maritime Authority of Jamaica. The minister is also calling for additional resources to be pooled to create safety signs at Lime Key and surrounding areas. He's appealing to Coast Guards and Marine Police to do more checks on all vessels to ensure they comply with the Maritime Authority of Jamaica's documentation and safety standards. And finally, the Ministry of Sport is negotiating with China to finalize plans to complement the current 3-year technical agreement on sport between both countries. This was disclosed by Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange during a news conference to commence Year 2 of the Jamaica-China Technical Assistance Project on Sport. It was launched at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Wednesday.
Negotiations are ongoing, and those negotiations include 1. Training of other teams in China, possibly to include winter sports teams, field events athletes, particularly in the throws, triathletes, water polo.
The minister says the negotiations also include training of Chinese sprint athletes in Jamaica, redevelopment of national sport infrastructure facilities, and training of athletes in China for 3 months instead of 2. It is also hoped that Chinese coaches will be dispatched to Jamaica for 2 or 3 month rotation periods, and that local medical personnel, massage physiotherapists, and chefs may accompany our delegation to China for training. The first batch of athletes from 7 disciplines were put through 60 days of intense training at specialized facilities across China in the summer of 2018. Local coaches also benefited from the sport clinics, and a gym was completely outfitted for gymnastics. Under the current technical agreement, more than 400 Jamaican athletes will travel to China for training over the next 3 years. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Respecting yourself, how you carry yourself is very important. You hear me, young men? We take for granted oftentimes as men that people judge you before you even open your mouth. From they look at you, they form a perception. They make up their minds about you. So the question is, when they look at you, what do they see?
Everybody wants to start the new year on a positive note, hence the resolutions. Some people desire to build or rebuild relationships. Others want to get active and indulge in a healthier diet, while many have simply decided to be the best version of themselves. Here's a school that is helping its young boys to be their best selves.
Boys are often depicted as rude, rough, and strong,
while their female counterparts the complete opposite. But steps are being taken right here in Jamaica to change that age-old cliché. Watch now as boys from the Independent City Primary School in Portmore are taught fine dining and social graces. The tables were meticulously set. And in no time, all was ready for the special occasion.
We're having a fine dining luncheon for our boys today, and different speakers will be coming in to address our boys as it relates to fine dining and changing the culture that now exists in our country. The little crudeness and so on, we're trying to ensure that our boys be nicer to our females, to their peers, and by extension, just embracing our country and the aesthetics that we have here.
The Boys' Day event, which was held in Portmore Heart Academy Auditorium, employed practical demonstrations and instructions to teach the boys proper dining skills and social graces. The first lesson of the day was to teach them how to properly use their napkins.
And you place it in your lap.
After the boys mastered this art, they learned how to properly eat their appetizers, which consisted of a warm bowl of soup and a side of roll.
You take your roll up and you break off a bite-sized piece. With one finger, one hand, that's what you eat. You put back the rest on your tray and you eat just what you break off. With me, you never bite the roll, okay? And you drink your soup from the side of your spoon.
And before long, these boys got the hang of it. Some were so good that they were correcting their peers. After a sumptuous appetizer, the boys were treated with a mouth-watering main course meal, and boy were they pleased.
You use your left hand with the fork and your right hand with the knife. The fork alone is to go to your mouth, the knife will not go to your mouth.
So what was the reason for hosting such an unforgettable event for the young men in training?
It's really about that as much as we spend time with the girls, we want to equally develop the boys, because research suggests that the boys move at a little slower pace at this age, so we want to ensure that we give them equal opportunity.
I hope that other schools will emulate, will copy, to ensure that our boys are exposed. We don't box them in at school every day, but we showcase them and let them realize that there are different places, and when you go to different places, you behave different ways.
And the effort and hard work of the school did not go unnoticed.
We feel like it's the best day, the best Boys' Day, because how they prepare it, how it looks, where it's held.
Jamaica, this is Kevin Downswell. We original. We were blessed. We have something about us that the world craves. We don't need to compromise. We don't need to rob. We don't need to thief nobody. Everybody who watch this have something unique in them that God placed in you, that was used to bring you favor, was used to bring you wealth. Find it. It's inside of you. Whether you're on the street side, something special inside of you. Whether you're at the bar and drink rum and you try to drink away your troubles, listen to me. And I'll say go. If you find that thing is what is the very thing that will bring you wealth, the very thing that will bring your life to a level you never imagined. Everybody out there have a choice. And my challenge to you is choose to do the right thing. Choose to not bust that gun. Choose to not smoke that weed. Choose the right thing. Your decision will create habit. and your habit will create a future. That means if your decision is wrong every day, your future will end up being popped down. But if you decide that you're not going to do that, and you're going to stand up for the right, watch it, your future big. You're blessed. Jamaica, you're blessed. Youth, you're blessed. Girl, you're blessed. Love.
Did you know that today is World Braille Day? Yes. On this day, citizens are reminded about the importance of accessibility and independence for those who are blind or visually impaired. As you may already know, Braille is a tactile reading and writing system that uses raised dots to represent the letters of the print alphabet. It also includes symbols to represent punctuation, music, computer notation, foreign languages, mathematics, and scientific characters. Without Braille, persons who are blind or visually impaired would not be able to review and study the written word. What kind of world would that be? It's no wonder World Braille Day is celebrated on January 4, the birthday of the man who created the system, Mr. Louis Braille. Hats off to Louis for creating this dynamic reading and writing system that undoubtedly helps the world and Jamaica to be an inclusive place of choice for everyone.
The Disabilities Act will protect the rights of all persons with disabilities. And here's a great teaching moment. Every person with a disability, like a deaf or hard of hearing child, for example, has the right to an education with accessible facilities and the support they need. In this case, it would be a teacher who can use the language of the deaf, which is sign language. Visit jcpdja.com. A message from the JCPD, an agency of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Another New Year resolution that should be on the list of all Jamaicans is to take steps to ensure their safety when browsing the internet and when using our roadways. Watch this.
I'm Tony Anlati and I am a victim of cybercrime. It started when my friends and I were in school. And we all received a friend request from a weird name. We didn't know who it was at the time, but because we all got the friend request, we figured more likely it was a real person, so everybody accepted this person. Wrong move. So everything was fine in the initial stages, but maybe like a week or two after everybody accepted the friend request, some strange things started to happen. They would send us messages, sometimes individually, or they'd send the same message to everybody just to see what kind of different responses we would have. And it was very weird, to say the least. But then after that, it's like they upped the ante a little bit to start. Well, they started to tell us things that we were doing and places that we were going and people that we were with. And it was just like, okay, do I know you? Well, we became very paranoid. It's sensitive information that this person is telling you, it's places that you never really announce it to people that you're going here. So when you see somebody send you a message to say, oh, you're here with this person and this person, you start to look at your friends now like, it's you, I know you're playing with me. You just talk the truth and let's move on. But it wasn't any of them. When everything happened, at that time we had a lecturer who was a DSP. So we started to get advice from him, asking, what to do, and at that point he told us that the best thing to do is stay as safe as possible, and so we started to leave school extra early. But we sort of just took matters into our own hands to try and find the person ourselves. We Googled how to trace IP addresses, and that's how we found out that the person who was doing this was actually a member of the school community, or they would be attached to the school Wi-Fi at the same time that we were at school. Eventually, it stopped because we made an uproar about it in spaces where we suspected the person was. So we began to speak very loudly about it. We let them know that we would be pressing charges and we'd go out with a bag of things. We didn't know who the person was, but we figured more likely that they heard us loud and clear. To this day, we don't have a definitive answer as to who the person was. Yes, we have our suspicions. But I can't really point at somebody to say, you are the person who was doing that. And that's a little scary to me. Looking back now, I think we all would have been much better off and a lot less paranoid if we kept ourselves to ourselves and only added people on social media that you know for a fact are your friends. If somebody doesn't have a profile picture, that's probably not somebody that you want to share your information with. To everybody else, I just say be very careful on social media because things and times have changed and there are some people out there with really malicious intent. So you just have to be very, very careful, be observant, be vigilant.
Action your prosperity. Action your progress. Associate with the projects that are improving the quality of your life.
Watch how the Office of the Prime Minister facilitated that in 2018. That's the 2018 review of activities in the Office of the Prime Minister, right here on this station.
Pedestrians, it is only safe to cross this designated part of the road if you follow the road rules. Never attempt to cross before the indication is given, and do not try to beat the oncoming traffic which has the green light.
You have overhead bridges, and overhead bridges are safe areas that are provided for pedestrians to cross. What we are seeing are pedestrians dashing across dual carriageways and then leaping over concrete medians. That is a no-no. We have had persons who have lost their lives doing that. And I am now appealing to pedestrians to do the right thing and access the overhead bridges that are provided in order to save your own life.
Where there is no overhead bridge or crossing sign, use the pedestrian crossing with caution. Monitor the lights and cross when it's safe to do so. That is a dangerous practice and a 99.9% chance of this happening.
The amount of kinetic energy that comes on your body, that is going to determine whether or not you survive.
There are several signs. Road signs are the language of the road. You have informational signs, directional signs, warning signs, and you have enforcement signs. Enforcement signs are erected upright or those that are drawn on the road surface. For example, you have stop sign, one-way sign, and it points in the direction where the one-way is. No U-turn, no parking, no right turn, no entry, a number of signs. If there is no sign that are erected upright, you will see yellow markings painted on curb walls. That constitute no parking, and you should not park in those areas. You park where white painting is drawn on those curb walls. Those are areas where parking is permitted. You have continuous white lines that are drawn on road surface. No motorist should drive to the right of a continuous white line. There are some other signs, especially like along Knutsford Boulevard, where the dual carriageway is, but there is any elevated median. You see something looking like a zebra crossing. Those crossing depicts a median, but a median that is not elevated. If you disobey a stop sign, it carries a fine of $4,000 or 6 demerit points. If you disobey the traffic light, the red light, that too carries $4,000 a fine or 6 demerit points. On the approach of a traffic light, for example, Halfway Tree Road, Chelsea Avenue, by GIS there is no filter light. You are to obey the light, and whenever you get green, you are to proceed. These lights are so configured that they allow for a pedestrian to cross. So when that red light is on, pedestrians are crossing. So that's why a filter light is not put in. When approaching a roundabout, you are to yield to the person to the right. Right? Always allow for that person to go first. Similar thing with a yield sign, a give way sign. You are to yield to the person and allow that person to proceed. If you happen to overtake, you are to do so if the way is clear, and once you complete that maneuver, you are to get back to the left lane and remain there. We have persons anticipating the light. You have those that are anticipating the green, and even before the green comes on, they are off. And you have others who are beating the amber in order to go by as well. And I should tell you this, red means you are to stop, amber means you are to prepare to stop, and green means you are to go if the way is clear.
And remember, always wear your seatbelt.
And the traffic lights till somebody get hurt and the tears start cry. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives. Make the road safe whether day or night, for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives.
Hey man, it's our job to keep the road them safe and protect care of the youth them so we know them safe and obey the road code. Don't race, no bother with the speeding case. Make face and check your light them at your tires and brakes. Riders on the pillions who left the helmet. Put on the cell phone, no send no text. No matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt for keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me. Well, everybody drive good and walk good. Then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good. And put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good. And we say young and old, I beg you cross good.
Action your prosperity. Action your progress. Associate with the projects that are improving the quality of your life.
Watch how the Office of the Prime Minister facilitated that in 2018. That's the 2018 review of activities in the Office of the Prime Minister, right here on this station.
Unfortunately, this is where we close off our magazine for today. We do hope it was an inspiring one. If you enjoyed our show, feel free to drop us an email at jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm or send us a message on any of our social media sites. While you're at it, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information on life-changing programs and initiatives. I'm Audrey Williams, reminding you that success is a state of mind. If you want success, start thinking of yourself as a success.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.